Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, happy Thursday. Well, I guess it's Friday now. Happy Friday, Boise State fans. We are actually recording this show, so that's why I messed up the date there. I appreciate you for joining us. We got an awesome show scheduled today. We are going to chat with Justin Shults in just a minute, the Boise State softball coach. Joe Nickell from the Horseshoe Collective going to join us as well. So we cannot take your comments today on the show, so I apologize if you are trying to put a comment in today. You guys can chat with yourselves there in the YouTube chat, but this show is being recorded, but we wanted to get you a fresh show today anyway. I am up in Seattle for the Cardinals-Mariners series this weekend as you watch this with the family, so go Cardinals. But still a great show planned for you on Friday. And just a heads up, next week we're going to start an off-season review of the basketball season. So we got all 7 basically of the returning players that played last year. We're going to hopefully interview a couple of them, talk about their season, look ahead, and then we'll start our football off-season storylines. 20 questions facing the football team. We'll start that on May 1st, believe it or not. So we got tons of off-season content for football and basketball, but we got a lot of other sports that are going strong right now that we want to spend a lot of time talking about, as you heard there. And we're going to get to Justin Shults in just a second, but we are broadcasting from the Cutwater Spirits mobile studios. Make sure you check them out. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. Pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. RowPaint.com, our title sponsor. If your garage has that ugly oil stain, what are you waiting for? Make the switch. Get the concrete coating from RowPaint.com, and they can take care of you. One-day install. It's 5 times stronger than epoxy. Transform the look of your back patio or your garage at RowPaint.com. And if you need a new vehicle, Lithia Ford of Boise, highly recommend them as well. LithiaFordofBoise.com. You can view the full inventory of vehicles. You can do what the Rains family did, purchase our F-150 from Lithia. But if you're not looking to buy from them, you can still, they will buy your used vehicle. The appraiser or make you a cash offer on the spot at Lithia Ford of Boise. And certainly, if you're looking for a new bank, I highly recommend ICCU, Idaho Central Credit Union, the best in mobile e-branch online banking, ICCU. We love them at the Rains Family Bronco Nation News, and we're very appreciative of their support at ICCU for Bronco Nation News. So I mentioned Boise State softball. They're going to be in action tonight, this afternoon, when you watch this, and nice enough to join us for a couple of minutes here is the head softball coach, Justin Shults. Justin, appreciate your time. How's it going, man?
It's going well. I appreciate you having me on, and I always got to give you a hard time. But when we first talked on this show, you said we got to be winning a lot of games to get back on, and we're 15-2 in the last 17. So I appreciate you getting me back on with the success the team's having.
Well, I mean, it's obviously deserved and warranted to have you on and keep talking about this team and what they're doing. And you guys continue to roll. You went to California last weekend and got it done there with the sweep of San Jose State, and then beating St. Mary's as well. But I mean, this kind of you just continue to kind of get it done. You split the series with obviously in a tough first game with Nevada. I was at that one. You guys certainly had some chances to win that one. You came back and won the second one. But as you mentioned, you're winning a lot of games right now. I mean, overall, you have to be pretty pleased with how you guys are playing.
Yeah, we're playing well. We're winning in a lot of different ways. You look at that first Nevada game last week, and we left 13 runners on base, and you lose by one. And so, how do you make adjustments there? What I've been really proud of is our pitching and our defense has been a lot more consistent. I think earlier in the season, a lot of question marks around both sides, and both of them. We've gotten really good starts from Taylor, really good starts from Lindsay. And our defense is starting to find their rhythm. And so that's really, I think, attributed to a lot of our success. I know we talk about the offensive numbers a ton, but that's been the backbone of our team. And you saw that in that 1-0 victory against San Jose when Taylor threw an absolute gem for us.
I know I kind of asked you this last time we had you on a little bit, but how do you think the tougher schedule at the beginning of the season prepared you for Mountain West play? And I know that was kind of your goal, whether or not it was going to help you get an at-large bid, which you're in the mix for or not. You just wanted to win the Mountain West and be in position there because you knew what that would potentially propel you to do. Have you, not to say necessarily that the Mountain West games are easier than a lot of games you already played, but playing those tough games, doing what you did early in the non-con, how have you noticed the team, benefit from that, this time of year?
Yeah, I think we're unfazed by tough losses. You see us lose to Colorado State 13-11 in a dogfight. We come out the next day and run rule them. In the same thing with Nevada, we lose a 6-5 ball game. We got to play 30 minutes later. We don't dwell on it. We come back and put up 9 runs and beat them 9-5. It was 9-2 going to the 7th, so we had it pretty much in hand. And so I think the response has been the biggest thing that we've taken away from that really tough non-conference schedule. I think we had a 5-game losing streak at one point, playing really, really talented teams, but it's how do you get better every single day? And our athletes have really shown their resilience, and they don't allow the ups and downs of the season to dictate how they play.
No, I don't have our stat man Jay Tust with us to confirm some of these numbers, but you probably know him well. I mean, are you guys still leading the nation in home runs per game?
Unless Jay posts about it or Mackenzie, my wife, talks about it. I don't really pay attention that much. I know we're in the top in a lot of those categories, but I would guess after only hitting 1 home run per game over the last 3, we probably dropped into that 3 or 4 spot again.
I know you've had very strong offenses your whole career. That's kind of been your thing. But I mean, going into the season, did you think this offense was one that could lead the nation in home runs and be up there in batting average and OBP, some of these other stats? I mean, did you have a feeling this was going to be a really strong offensive team?
Yeah, I knew we were going to be strong offensively. I didn't know how strong, honestly. And when you look at the strength of schedule, too, to see the numbers that we've been putting up, I think that's the biggest surprise to me is a much tougher strength of schedule this year. We had a great offensive team last year, but we're blowing those numbers out of the water as of today. And so I think that's been the biggest surprise is with the strength of schedule and the numbers we're putting up. It's been a good combination.
To have 6, hitters batting at least .319 in your order. I mean, you mentioned leaving all those runners on base. You're getting a lot of runners on base and having a lot of chances to score a lot of runs. I know you're doing it with the long ball, but it's not just the long ball. I mean, just is it something that you did and putting it? Is it just the group of young women just coming together and they're all just really good, or how do you explain, I guess, some of the offensive numbers where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the strength of schedule early on. I think as coaches, it allowed us to kind of figure out, okay, when we're facing really good pitching and we're in that dogfight, how do we manufacture? We don't just rely on the long ball. And so we had a lot of trial and errors ourselves early in the season trying to figure out what was the best rhythm for this offense. We draw a lot of walks, which leads to multiple runs when we do hit the long ball. We've bunted for hits a lot better. I know bunts aren't the thing anymore in baseball or softball, but we've bunted for a lot of hits this year. So I think you see when we're not swinging it well, we can still manufacture without just relying on that one swing for the home run.
Now, I know, Jay, and a lot of people are trumpeting you for Mountain West Coach of the Year, if they even offer that. But, I mean, you benched Kelsey Hall at one point this season. I don't know what we can do about that. But I know you touched on it last week or last time we had you on. But just, for folks that are just jumping onto softball now or don't know much, about Kelsey and her story, first of all, I guess touch on how impressive it is what she's doing, but also what was kind of behind, I guess, and maybe explain a little bit. She hasn't been in your lineup every game this season.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's a special player. We got to see it last year, comeback player of the year. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of it is confidence. It's what you're doing in practice. And to her defense, the deepest part of our team is our outfield. So we got a lot of good hitters. And so early on, she wasn't having as much success. We talked about it, and I had a short hook on her as well with some other athletes as well. But it was her just getting her mind right, coming in, and when she got her chances, running with them. And she ran with them. And like I said, maybe I could have given her a few more chances early on to get her hotter quicker, but she's a tough kid, and I'm really proud of the way she's responded to all the adversity. Because social media is not easy too. Everyone knew she's the comeback player of the year. She's not in the lineup consistently. How does she handle that? And she really leaned on people like her family, the coaching staff, and her teammates to kind of get through those times.
Safe to say, though, whenever we see the graphic come across with the lineup from here on out, we're not going to have to worry about her not being in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely safe, but I'd be a fool probably not to have her with the way she's been swinging the bat lately. She'll be in our lineup pretty regularly.
What in terms of you've coached at Oregon and a lot of big time places and seen a lot of players on the softball side and even on the baseball side, just being a baseball fan, a softball fan. I mean, the kind of run that she's been in and continues to be in, and all the home runs and the hits, and the game I was at, the Nevada series. I mean, an intentional walk twice. I don't know how common that is in softball to get intentionally walked multiple times like that, and I know the one time it did pay off for Nevada. It was probably a smart strategy, but just the kind of fear that she's putting into some of these opposing teams, it's pretty incredible the type of hitter you have right now.
Yeah, it allows our lineup to be more comfortable around her, knowing that they're focused a lot on her and they can get better pitches. The run she went on, when I think Jay was posting a lot about it, a lot of people were talking about that run. I don't think I've ever seen that in my playing career, my coaching career. What she was doing was just ridiculous. I think 18 at-bats. I think only got out one time in that 18 at-bat span with a ton of home runs. And so she had a tough first game at San Jose State this weekend, and it's like, how do we respond? And she responded nicely with a couple hits in the second game and at St. Mary's. And so she's learning to flush, I think, the bad quicker. And that's all we want as coaches, is how do the athletes continue to grow throughout their career here.
And she gets a lot of the pub, and rightfully so for what she's doing. 11 home runs, 42 RBIs. But you've got Jordan Hutchins with 10 home runs. You've got multiple, I think, at least 4 players with 7 home runs. And I mentioned the batting average. You got Autumn, Bennett at 424, Mackenzie Hanna 353. I mean, she gets a lot of the headlines, but it's certainly not a one person show here.
No, we're loaded. We've got about 12 to 13 hitters that we can filter through. And it's great when we've got the right matchups. But yeah, I mean, Autumn's been the one. I think we were just talking about her a little bit ago in the office. Is just, she's really come onto the scene confidence wise in the box. I think early in her career, not really, she's more a defender than a hitter. I think career average was probably just under 300 maybe. And what she's doing this year has been really, really special. She's stepped up. We lose people like Kelsey Lawler, Ali Sang, last year, and so now for her to be doing what she's doing, she's picked up some of those holes that we thought we might have. But you'll see it a lot of different ways. Our lineup's hard to get out, and I think the thing that we don't talk enough about is the averages are great. Almost all of our kids are in the 400s on base percentage, so there's the reason why when we hit home runs, we're amongst the nation's top in runs scored, is because there's always people on when we're hitting the ball out of the park.
And the pitching staff, I mean, I know you brought Lindsey Walljasper in, and at least from an ERA standpoint, has been a little bit of a struggle at times for her adjusting to the Mountain West and some of the tough matchups in the early non-con as well that she's had to go up against. But with Taylor Caudle, and like you said, 2.84 ERA, and what she's done over 100 innings now, how do you feel moving forward about the pitching staff?
Yeah, they've gotten a lot more efficient. I think we talk about that in the Mountain West with high elevation. They're doing a good job of throwing the ball through the zone. Taylor's been climbing the ladder every single week, and Lindsay's done the same thing. I think Lindsay's ERA is a little bit skewed in a sense because we are, as you can see at this point, thin in the circle right now. So we're relying on 2 or 3 pitchers pretty much every weekend. And so she'll stay out there a little bit longer than maybe she should in certain situations, but we know she can get out of the jam. And so I think that attributes a little bit to her ERA being a little bit higher for people's eyes, but I've been really proud of the way she's pitched the last 2 or 3 weeks, constantly keeping us in ball games, and really done a good job getting ground balls for our defense to work.
So as folks watch this on a Friday, there will be a game at 4 o'clock this afternoon against Utah State. And then you have Utah State Saturday at 4 o'clock, and I believe Sunday at noon. You guys sit atop the Mountain West standings at 10-2. Utah State's kind of in the middle there with 5, 6, 7 teams that are all kind of a game or two away. They're sitting at 6 and 7 in the league standings. But every game at this point, as you try to clinch this regular season title, get the number 1 seed in the conference tournament. I mean, all these games are important, right?
Yeah, we talk about one game at a time. So yeah, we've got nine conference games left. A 10th game in a non-conference against Idaho State. But our job is we're just focused on Friday at 4 p.m. Can we play our best softball that day, and then we'll worry about the next day when it comes. It's nice to see where we're at in the standings, but we try to put blinders on when it comes to all that stuff because that's when you slip up to people. It's really just got to play good softball every single day.
2 final questions for you, and they both involve your wife, since you mentioned her earlier. You said my wife. I don't know if that's still how that feels to say, but you kind of surprised some folks in the offseason, just decided to go get married to your longtime girlfriend, and congratulations publicly. I didn't know if that was public or not, but it is since you just said it. But you kind of just did your own thing and kind of just went on a Friday and got married, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty private person, I feel like, when it comes to my personal life. And so for a while we talked about doing maybe a destination wedding or something. And the stressors of planning all that, we finally got to a point where we're like, you know what, let's just go elope. So we did it over at the Boise Train Depot in October. And it was just her parents, my parents, and our pastor. And so it was a nice little event. But yeah, the big crowds kind of make me uncomfortable. So trying to do vows in front of everybody would have been tough.
Well, I know you're having a happy marriage, but I just wonder, with the 2 times you've been ejected this year, have you had to worry at all? Has she changed the key at all? I know I talked to Matt Bauscher when he got kicked out of the basketball game. He said, hey, if it happens again, I know I can't come home. I know the second one was probably a little quick hook. You probably didn't deserve that one, but how does Mackenzie feel about the 2 heave-hos you've gotten this year?
She's probably a little more fiery than I am at times. So I think yeah, she understands for sure. And I think the key would get changed for other things. I need to sometimes use my off days a little bit better to take her to dinner and do some nice things. But no, she's all about the intensity on the field. And she thought in both cases we were in the right. So she's a huge supporter.
I think any player, fan, whatever, loves a manager that's going to defend his team. And the second one, just nobody knew what happened against Nevada. What did happen against Nevada? It just seemed like all of a sudden the guy's like, you're gone. And then I didn't want to do it to you I didn't want to do it, but I have the video of kind of the slow walk of shame of you walking back to the locker room or whatever, back there. And it was, I thought about playing some slow music or something and putting that on social media. I didn't do it to you because we're friends, but that had to be a tough walk back there. And then you had to watch the rest of the game, I don't know, your phone or computer or something. And, you have a bases loaded 1-run game in the last inning. I had to be killing you.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And I have to learn there's times to probably utilize that ejection maybe. But I also have to understand that it's not in the best interest of our team either. It was a quick one. Fran got warned in the first inning. It was just simple, just asking questions, going back and forth with the umpire. I didn't agree with the way he handled that situation, was pretty quick on the trigger with her just asking to watch a specific thing with Nevada. Kind of forgot about it. We're in the 4th inning now. It was a team warning. I go out there to argue a out of the box call. And as I'm walking back, I kind of just say, we got to be better. Check out the video board or whatever. And as I'm in the dugout, I think he went back into his book to warn me and realized we had already used our warning. And I think that's why he was just like, you got to go. So I was a little more confused than anything. I didn't think it even warranted a warning, in my opinion, but that's why I'm a coach and not an umpire, I guess.
Yeah, I was wanting you. We didn't even see a finger point. I mean, I thought you'd throw the hat down. I thought you got to get your money's worth at some point there.
Yeah, that one was a quick one. I knew I had been ejected a couple weeks ago and wanted to keep it mellow. And like I said, frustrating because I would have liked to be on the field in that tight ball game at the end. But you live and you learn, and I got to do a better job at understanding situations as well.
Well, hopefully the weather warms up here. It's been rough. Even coaching my little kids' baseball team, we're practicing in snow flurries this week. I mean, it is crazy right now. It's not softball weather for sure. So hopefully the weather's good this weekend. Hopefully you get some big crowds out there. And again, 4:00 today starts the series with Utah State. Best of luck, Justin. We appreciate you coming on and keep winning, and we'll keep doing this a few more times, man.
Right on. I appreciate you having me, and have fun up in Seattle.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it. There he is, Justin Shults, Boise State softball coach. And, hey, we're going to bring on Joe Nickell in just a minute, but want to thank a couple more of our sponsors real quick. Transportation Compliance Service. You looking for a new job? How about TCS? Transportation Compliance Service can help you every step of the way to get into the trucking industry, the DOT permits, overweight permits, all the things you need. Check them out, transcompservice.com. You need a dentist? I got the perfect guy for you. Chris Minert, Dr. Minert, Boise Dentistry Co. They got 5 locations across the Treasure Valley. They make going to the dentist an enjoyable experience. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Find a location near you. You need business insurance? United Commercial Insurance. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. Bronco Nation News is a client. I use all these companies. Dr. Miner's my dentist. I use United Commercial Insurance for our business insurance. So I'm not just giving you lip service. These folks really are the best, and we appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. Quick call could save you hundreds of dollars at UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They make business insurance easy. Our friend Mark Ridley, Ridley's Family Markets. Check them out, shopridleys.com. They got the new app. Go download the new Ridley's app in your smartphone and then get savings up to 40% when you use it at one of the 13 Idaho locations. The Blue and Orange Store, you looking for new Boise State gear? You can get free shipping, any order for over $40 online at theblueandorangestore.com. And you can also go in there at the Boise Town Square Mall on the second floor next to the Pro Image and get all your Boise State gear there. And last but certainly not least, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. The number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. Really excited about this one. We're going to bring in our friend Joe Nickell. Joe, I'm still not used to the hair, man. I'm used to the shorter hair, or are you wearing a ball cap or something? But
yeah, you're not alone. I've been getting that a lot lately, which tells me it's getting to the point where I'm either going to have to cut it or I'm committed for the long haul. So,
Joe, longtime employee at Boise State University. How many years were you there?
I think 17 total.
Okay.
Started back in 2005, but yeah, long time, long enough to make this place close to my heart. I can tell you.
Well, and you obviously you're now the executive. What's the exact title, I guess, of the Horseshoe Collective? Executive Director. Does that work? Or
Yep, Executive Director of the Horseshoe Collective.
The Horseshoe Collective, the horseshoecollective.com. They're doing a lot of big things. We thought it was a good time. I've tried to get Joe on a couple of times. Like, hey, I got one more thing I'm working on. Just give me another week. And we finally have enough out there public now that I think it's fun to catch up and talk about it and maybe update Bronco Nation on some of the things that are going on and things they can get involved in to be helping with the Horseshoe Collective. And I know you're using a lot of your relationships and contacts over at Boise State, Joe. It's been kind of a natural fit for both sides, it seems like. But I guess before we get into some of the specifics, the Horseshoe Collective, folks that aren't familiar with it, just what is it and how can people get involved generally before we get into some of the things you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not familiar with name, image, likeness, and the new legislation that's passed in the NCAA, that's probably the starting point for a conversation. But with most of your crew being well read in the college athletic space, I'll assume everybody's dialed up on NIL. You're seeing collectives pop up throughout the country. We had some donors start a collective here for Boise State, and it's a nonprofit organization. And the mission statement, basically says, we exist to support local charitable causes by pairing them with community-minded Boise State student athletes. So what we're doing is trying to promote local charitable causes by using Boise State student athletes' name, image, and likeness. The response from charities in town, the response from student athletes at Boise State has been phenomenal. Our goal is to impact every program at Boise State and ultimately every student athlete at Boise State. And we're building this blue collar. A lot of the announcements you've seen, we've been partnering with some businesses, and that's going to help, from a long-term sustainability standpoint. Fundraising is going to be huge. We've had a lot of great meetings on the fundraising front, but building business partnerships and sponsorships, much like how you built BNN, BJ. That's exactly what we're out banging the drum and getting out in the community and trying to educate as many people as possible about what we're doing.
What I want to get to the beer in a minute, but that's obviously the thing everybody thinks is cool. I know you have a big event coming up with that in a couple of weeks, and that's kind of one of the outside the box type things you guys are doing. But the initial way that you've gotten the student athletes involved, you've done a couple of meet and greet events. There's some clinics, some camps you're having them work at. So essentially, you can pay these student athletes to participate in some of these events and clinics and things. Fill us in on kind of what you've been able to do and actually put some cash in some of these student athletes' pockets.
Yeah, I mean, the first charitable organization that we partnered with was Game Changers Idaho. Their executive director, Gabriel Moreno, is one of the most phenomenal human beings that you will ever meet, and he is building something phenomenal here in Boise. Essentially, he has sport programming for young kids with and without disabilities. So he's built flag football leagues. He's got gymnastics. He's got CrossFit. I mean, he's got all sorts of programming for kids to get involved in. And it just seemed like such a natural fit, a flag football league for kids with disabilities and partnering with, the Boise State football team and getting some basketball players out there. He's got plans for the future to expand his programming as well. And basketball might be something that's coming soon. And so having some guys to partner with him, we sent a few of our basketball players out to an event last week. I took a few football players to deliver jerseys to kids that made the team, for the flag football league. We've got Friday night. We're going to have a bunch of our football players going out and helping him run the flag football league that night. It's just awesome opportunities for our young men and women at Boise State to give back to the community, to a group of people that look up to them. I just think it's a perfect use of name, image, and likeness. So
how do you pick the student athletes that get picked? Obviously, we saw the basketball picture, and it's no secret that it's the 3 returning starters that are the ones that are in the photo with some of the kids. Is that a thing where you just say I need 3 players and Boise State gives you 3? Do you try to take care of the more star players? How does this work?
No, I mean, like I said at the beginning, our goal is going to be to have every student athlete at Boise State signed to a contract and getting them out. When you think about 350 plus Boise State student athletes getting out into the community, however many times a year, that combined effort makes Boise State's athletic department, specifically its student athletes, one of the most community engaged groups in the state of Idaho. And when we get to that point, I'm going to be incredibly proud of the efforts that got us there. Right now, it's a lot of guys just reaching out saying, how can I get involved? What can I do? We don't have everybody signed to contracts right now, but that doesn't matter. The guys that we have in our programs at Boise State, they want to show the community, that they're committed to this, that this is how we're going to build this, is people seeing the impact that the young men and women in our programs are able to have. And so people that, aren't even signed to contracts are just, hey, let me help you. Let me help build this. This is something we would want to do anyway. Let's show the community what we can do, what we're all about. And then hopefully that builds into some more sponsorships and, corporate partnerships and fundraising as well.
And there's so many levels to this. So I want to get back to the beer and the events and stuff. But while we're on this kind of topic, I guess, I know the inducements and the pay for play thing is a big thing people talk about. You are not technically you can't tell a recruit, hey, we'll give you $50,000 if you come here. But what kind of have you had conversations, I guess, or been enlightening with recruits at all about the opportunities that exist for them? What other guys potentially are making that are there? How do you come into this game? Because I know we're seeing this nationally where guys are promised 6-figure deals and all this or whatever. I'm sure you're working directly with these coaches when it comes to, hey, we got a big time prospect coming on campus next week. What can we do for them? How does that work in terms of what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do? And even for the current players, when you mention a contract, is it a per event type thing, or do you say we'll give you this, but we need you for 5 different things, or how does that all kind of work?
No, it'll be an annual contract with student athletes. And those contracts aren't going to come until people arrive on campus and are enrolled in school. That's how that's going to work. For me, it's important to stay, you talked about at the beginning, being close to Boise State, having been there for so long, having the relationships and the connections there. Those relationships and connections are important. Understanding what the rules and regulations are is very important, because you don't want to jeopardize, anybody's eligibility, get anybody in trouble. Like, I worked in college athletics for 20 years. Like, I want to be able to do this the right way. So being able to pick up the phone and call compliance and say, hey, this is something on the horizon. What do you guys think about this? Having some relationships with coaches saying, hey, this is an idea that we have. Do you think this is something that would be supported? We're going to put this event on. Would you mind showing up? And Boise State, the administration, the coaches, they want this to be successful. And their response to a lot of what we've talked about building and having them be a part of has been amazing. So I appreciate the support. I appreciate Jeremiah. I appreciate Cody. Walsh, the coaches, the student athletes, like the relationships have been awesome. And what we're building is phenomenal. And I hope it's something that our community can be proud of.
So are collectives allowed to talk to either high school kids or transfers just to explain what you guys offer and what opportunities might be available? Or is that something the coaches have to do where they say, hey, we have this collective, they're giving player A this amount of money, you might have similar opportunities if you come here, that kind of thing?
I would say the best person that you'd want to talk to about rules and regulations, BJ, would be, Nathan Burke in compliance. What I can say is that when I have a question about, something that's arisen or something that we're thinking about doing, I make sure that what we're doing is going to be above board, and I communicate with Boise State. So that's probably the best way to answer that question.
Okay. I just from a general standpoint, I know collectives are involved in that kind of stuff. And I didn't know if a guy comes to visit, he's probably going to want to know what are my opportunities. I didn't know if that's something you can get involved with, or is that more of something that Boise State does? And then
that's where building the, the branding, the awareness of the collective and what we're doing. That's where that's important. Getting that out into the community, the more NIL opportunities, and it's not just collectives, people are talking about collectives specifically, but it's not just collectives. When you're talking about name, image, and likeness, the more opportunities that exist in, a city or a location, surrounding an institution, the more enticing, attending that institution is going to be for somebody. So, my background is in media relations and, trying to promote, causes and programs. And that's what I've spent a lot of my time trying to do, is build awareness around the Horseshoe Collective and what we're about, and, communicate with you guys and let you know that there's opportunities out there, for media stuff. So that's kind of where I've built a lot of my, the base of what we're trying to build. So people are aware that this is something, and, the longer we're in existence and the more, corporate sponsorships and business relationships and fundraising, all of that is going to pay dividends down the road.
And as you mentioned, the corporate sponsorships, obviously the main thing you need is money to be able to do more events and have, more deals with more athletes, and the more revenue income you can have, the better that positions Boise State, in terms of being an attractive place for players. What two interesting things you guys have done is, first of all, the beer. Tell us about that. And obviously I think it's 10 cents, or there's a certain amount of money from each beer that gets sold that's going to go back to the collective. How did that whole partnership come about?
Well, we had an event out at Western proper, and I met the ownership out there, Melissa and Carrie. They're phenomenal people. And, just the conversations kind of started to develop from there. Hey, this was awesome. We appreciate the opportunity to hold this out here. Let us know if we can do anything down the road. And, I brought up the beer, and Carrie and Melissa were incredibly receptive to it. And we started talking about it. They came to me and said, hey, this is something we would want to be, low alcohol percentage, sessionable, something you can have a couple of when you're watching a sporting event. And so it took off real quick. We signed a deal, and yeah, portions of the proceeds are going to come back as a donation to the collective. This is Western Collective's 13th beer that they've done that supports a charitable organization. So this is something they were already involved in, giving back to the community. That's something that was already important to them and in their structure and their mission. They're sports fanatics. They love Bronco athletics. And this was an opportunity for them to, get into the space in a certain capacity. I'm not Boise State. This is a third party, so you're not going to see Boise State logos on the cans or anything like that. But, this is the first partnership of its kind in the country, where a brewery is partnered with a collective and proceeds are going back to it. And, Kerry did an interview, and he divulged some of the numbers that he thinks, could come from this partnership. But, again, when I said we're going to blue collar this, and what I mean by that is you take 10 of these kind of deals in different areas, different categories. And you do this with your sponsorship stuff. You start stacking these over time, and eventually, there's a lot more revenue coming in. And what we're able to do with that is pay student athletes to get involved and give back to our community. So it's a perfect model. It's what we're doing. I think it's great.
Now, you've been known you for about 10, 11 years. You've been a guy that's enjoyed a good beer every once in a while. How involved were you with the makeup of and the taste of the beer?
Not at all. Other than showing up on the first day that they started the brewing process, Kyle, their head brewmaster, just seeing what he does. I thought it was a cool experience for me. Back in the day, I would brew my own beer at my house. 5 gallons at a time in these little glass carboys, and so to see a professional do it and to see it, the starting out process was really cool for me. And they said we'd be done by the end of April, so let's have a launch party. And we're going to have that on Saturday, April 29th. It's going to be 1 to 4 p.m. out at Horseshoe Collective. Food trucks, music. BJ, I invite you out. I'm going to send a press release.
I'm going to try to come. Yeah,
you should. You'll come. I'll buy you a beer. I absolutely will. I have not tried it yet. I can't wait to try it. I've sampled other offerings that they have, and it's all been good. So I'm excited. I've seen the logo or the can design. That's awesome. I can't wait to get that out there publicly.
So will this be sold at all anywhere else publicly, or just at their locations?
No, it's going to be throughout the Treasure Valley. They're going to can it. They're in grocery stores. They're Horseshoe Collective. You can buy that at Albertsons. You're going to see it. You're going to see it throughout the Treasure Valley. In the press release initially, I wrote, my hope is that no matter where you're watching a game from, you'll be able to have it. Now, I can't make any promises, that it's going to be in the stadium or the arena or anything, but those conversations are happening. But I don't control whether that's going to come to fruition, so I can't make that promise.
Now, folks, this is kind of inside baseball stuff, but occasionally there'll be a time where a press release has to be written by someone, and they have a quote from themselves in the press release. And I'll tell you what, man, nobody does it better, and nobody makes it sound more authentic than Joe Nickell.
I despise quoting myself in press release. I always have. I never wanted to be quoted or out there publicly in my previous life. But
you and our friend Mike Safford, man, 2 of the best in the business.
I do not like putting press release quotes for myself, but here we are.
One more time. What is the date and the time again for folks, and more details on the party?
April 29th, Saturday, from 1 to 4 p.m. General public is invited. That's the official launch party. We'll have, obviously the beer will be there. It's going to be canned. So, you can have it on tap at the brewery. You can leave with packs of the cans. We'll have food trucks. It's going to be awesome. So, general public's invited. I'm going to send a press release out here later today. To get this invitation out into the media. You guys are all more than welcome to join. Would love to have you out there.
What and you mentioned some of the other deals. I want to get back to that. I know Happy Teriyaki.
Yeah.
You guys are doing. What else is kind of going on in terms of the revenue generation here?
Yeah, some of those conversations started with Dan Landucci at Paddles Up, and I know Dan, and he approached us. His software system allowed him to do a Roundup campaign, and he said, I want to help the Horseshoe Collective. We have the ability at all of our stores to allow our patrons to round up as a donation to the Horseshoe Collective. And so Dan approached us with that idea. And, once he approached us with that and we got that out there, we've got several more, businesses that have said, hey, we'd like to do something similar. That's creative. It's awesome. It's another Bronco. Dan graduated from Boise State. So did his wife. They love Bronco athletics and they want to support. And this is a part of that. And so they got together and had a creative idea. And that's going to build the long-term sustainability of this program is people getting creative and wanting to step up and help out and see this be successful. And then once we did that, I've been talking to Joel Schneider about doing something. And so, if you mentioned the Horseshoe Collective, the day of the spring game, he 50% of the sale donated back to the collective. And this is something that, we talked about maybe doing in the future. And, it's starting points for a lot of these businesses, and we're testing things and see if they work, and, drawing some attention for the business and getting some revenue for the collective. And it's been really cool to see the reaction from, business owners and business leaders in our community.
And like you said, it all adds up. You may think your $9.38 bill rounded up to $10. I don't know if you've gotten any numbers back on how it's been going, but I would assume 50 cents here and there several times a day that can make an impact.
It can. And when you take that over the course of a year and trying to keep it fresh and bring it back public, we launched this right after the basketball team was selected for the NCAA tournament. So we made sure that, the first round of this is going to go to the basketball fund. You just had Justin on there having a phenomenal year. I mean, it makes sense to as we get closer to the end of the season, the attention and all that's ramping up to make sure that, that's now going to the softball program. Keeping this fresh, spreading it around, is going to be what, I think keeps people interested in the concept.
Well, Paddles Up Poke, that deal's still going on, correct?
Dan's intention is for this to be a year-round campaign.
That's awesome. Can't let too much out of the bag, but maybe future BNN sponsor Paddles Up Poke.
Hey, I've got another announcement coming here in a couple of weeks, and I think you'll like it.
Okay, cool. Well, I even, my brain is always sometimes gets me in trouble with the ideas that I come up with, but I've got plenty of ideas that I think that the Horseshoe Collective could continue to build brands and build things and stuff moving forward. So I think you guys are on the right track. It's awesome what you're doing, and we really appreciate your time. What I guess final question, if there's a business owner watching this, if there's just some guy that wants to make a donation watching this, you have the website, obviously. Can folks donate directly on there? Should they email you? How can the average Joe get involved in this?
No, I appreciate you asking that question, BJ. Right now we actually have a website in the process of getting built. We do have an online donation portal. We link to that on our Twitter page, Horseshoe_BSU. The easiest way to reach out and see about getting involved would be to email me, joe@thehorseshoecollective.com. You email me, I can send you the donation link if that's what you're looking for. If you're a business looking, to get involved, whether from a sponsorship standpoint or just, to support, we can have those conversations. I mean, my intent in the future, when our guys are going out into the community, guys and gals, when they're going out into the community, I would love to have them in a Horseshoe Collective shirt, with their name and number on the back. There's sponsorship opportunities for the front of those shirts so that whenever we've got people out into the community, your business logo could be on those shirts, featured on that website. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about right now, BJ. You've been doing this for a while now, so it's similar concepts. And if this is something you'd like your business affiliated with, by all means, joe@thehorseshoecollective.com.
Send them an email, joe@thehorseshoecollective.com. The Twitter account was what? Horseshoe_BSU, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come up with the name, by the way, or who had the name for the Horseshoe Collective?
No, that was our board of directors, the guys who started this whole process.
Awesome. Well, it's really cool to see where it's going, and best of luck moving forward. We'll, the 29th, 1 to 4 for the beer event. Hopefully we'll see a lot of folks out there. That should be fun, and then eagerly awaiting some of your other announcements as well. And appreciate the time as always, Joe. Glad we could finally make it work, and we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, BJ, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. There he is, Joe Nickell from the Horseshoe Collective. We appreciate him for coming on. Great stuff. And again, get involved. Send him an email, joe@thehorseshoecollective.com. I know there's some things maybe he can or can't say, but the Horseshoe Collective has a direct impact on recruiting, on student athletes, on guys not transferring and wanting to stay at Boise State for future years. That all matters. And there's people throwing out numbers, and it happens that they need this amount of money if they want to stay or this or that. And guys like Joe are trying to, within the legalities of the rules, find ways to get partners and events that these guys can go to and get them paid. So everybody's happy, and it works out. And so it's a game changer. Boise State's been at the top of the NIL from the very start. They've been winning awards and doing things for NIL, and the Horseshoe Collective, as you hear, is doing things that no other collectives are doing either. So it sounds like Boise State continues to be on the upper echelon of kind of cutting edge, I guess, in terms of NIL and all the different opportunities that are out there. And again, Joe at the Horseshoe Collective, if you want to email him. And I think it's fascinating to kind of hear the behind the scenes of how it's all going. And yeah, you can go get a poke bowl and go have a beer, and at the same time help out student athletes at Boise State. That is pretty cool. So hey, quick reminder before we get out of here: the golf tournament on June 2nd. Make sure you head on out to Timberstone Golf Course. Looking forward to it. Really excited about this. We got some afternoon foursomes still available, so hopefully you'll jump in and purchase one. You get lunch, you get drinks on the course, You get a golf glove, you get a t-shirt, you get all kinds of fun other stuff that we haven't announced yet, but all kinds of goodies throughout the day at the different holes. You get to meet and greet with some of your favorite local coaches and athletes. Leon Rice will be doing a Q&A up on stage. He'll be happy to take pictures with you. We got some other basketball coaches. We got some basketball players, Tyson Degenhardt, RJ Keene, maybe even some football players. Well, there will be some football players. We just haven't announced them yet. And, of course, you can win a hole-in-one from Lithia Ford if you get a hole-in-one on hole 6 out there at Timberstone. A lot of other cool promotions like that. So join Prater and Tust and Johnny and myself and the whole Bronco Nation News gang. We'd love to have you June 2nd at Timberstone. Get more information at bronconationnews.com/golf. That'll do it for Friday's show. Thanks to Joe Nickell. Thanks to Justin Shults. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hope you have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Go check out the Boise State softball game today at 4 o'clock, and I'll be back with John Mallory on Monday. Very, very cool announcement coming, a business partnership that BNN and some of my friends are getting involved in, and we're going to have the perfect Mother's Day gift for you on Monday. Very excited to talk to you about a cool announcement about something you and your family can have that'll be a keepsake forever. So we'll tell you that on Monday. And we got a very special guest that's going to be coming on. I think I can probably tease the guest. I don't know why I couldn't. Joe Buck. Joe Buck's going to join us on Monday's show if the schedule works out and permits. And Joe Buck will help us make this announcement about a cool thing we're doing with Bronco Nation News. So Joe Buck, World Series, Super Bowl, everything else. Don't miss a Monday, 9 a.m. Bronco Nation News. So have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you Monday. Bronco Nation News Live, Bronco Nation News.